Hey everyone, it's good to be back, I guess, even though I can't actually see you. We're going to pick up today where we left off in Unit 8, and we're going to be looking at Lesson E. So this is your writing lesson, like we have always with each unit. And today we're going to be focusing on how to write a cover letter. If you remember, you recall, the last lesson had to do with hard and soft job skills. And so it was asking you to think about what are the kinds of skills you need to get a good job. And of course, most people think of hard skills. They think of the things that you must do. Again, the example we used was if you are a mechanic, then you want to know how to change brakes or how an engine works, how to do anything that a car needs so that it runs well. But then there were soft skills that were at least the lesson was saying, are in some ways more important, the soft skills, because these are things that you can't teach someone. And if you remember, soft skills are how you treat other people, how you act when things are difficult or when you feel stress. Those are all things that people cannot be taught like hard skills are taught. So today, the writing lesson also has to do with finding a job, but it's about writing a cover letter. Some of you have probably done this before. Most of you probably know what a CV is, or a resume. And what you may also know is that when you turn in a resume, when you give a CV to an employer, they often ask for a cover letter. And this is just a letter that you put on top of your CV, or as we will talk about today, you include with your CV in an email, explaining to the employer what kind of job you're looking to apply for, and a very short explanation of your skills and experience, and then just a thank you for looking at your resume or your CV. So let's look at your book. We're on page 104. We're going to skip this part because really, if we were together, we would talk through those questions. Those are questions just to get us thinking about cover letters and those things. But I want to go straight to part B, and I want us to look at this example cover letter. In fact, I'm going to ask you to stop the video in just a minute and read through the cover letter. And just like always, if you find words you don't know, circle them, look them up in a dictionary or Google them. And then after a few minutes, after you have read it, I want you to do this. I want you to, or while you read it, I want you to do this. I want you to think about the different parts of the cover letter. What are the different parts of this entire letter? And in fact, the questions are up here. What information is in that letter? I've already said that, actually. I was going to say I already gave you a clue, but really I already told you. But see if you can remember. what is the information that you see in this cover letter? And yeah, so I want you to pause. So just hit pause on the video, read the letter, and then when we come back, what I want you to go ahead and do after you read the letter is look at the questions here. This is part C. Read the questions and answer them to help you to see if you understand what you read. And then I want you to do that, but don't do part D. During the time you pause, just go ahead and read and answer those questions, and then when we come back, we'll look at the questions and I'll go through the answers and you can see how you did, okay? So I'll see you in just a minute. And we're back. All right, let's take a look at how you did. So hopefully you had a chance to read the cover letter and a chance to go through the questions. Let's look at the questions as a way to make this lesson a little shorter, because I know you probably have plenty to do with kids at home trying to do school and everything. Let's look at the questions on page 105 and see how you answered them. So number 1 says, who wrote the cover letter? And of course, because this is an email form, you can see, right, it's from Esther Yetbarek. So that's easy enough. And then number 2, who did she write to? Also, it's an email form, so Lynn Stevens, who works at a school. And then number 3, what position is she applying for? Where did you find that in the letter? This is important. If you look at the letter here, you see the greeting, Dear Ms. Stevens. Remember, I asked you to pay attention to the parts of the letter. So it's very important up here, of course, when you're writing an email, to put the right email address, you know, from you and then to the person you're writing to. But then it's also important to greet the person and to use, it's appropriate and it's right to use Mr. or Ms. for a woman. And then in that first paragraph, they say exactly what they're applying for. And this again is an answer to number 3, what position is she applying for? I read in your advertisement online for a position as a teacher's assistant. I am very interested in this position and have attached my resume. So it's important that you just go ahead and say exactly what you want in the first paragraph. Now, that may sound a little rude, maybe, to some people, but at least in America, it's okay. You don't have to say, how are you? Because this is in the form of a business letter, right? This is not a personal letter. You're not writing this to a friend. You don't know Lynn Stevens, or you don't know who you're talking to or writing to when you fill out a cover letter. So you just say exactly what you want in the first paragraph. So you have again, it's from Esther Yetbarek. It's to Lynn Stevens. You have your greeting. That's the next part. And then in that first paragraph, you say exactly what you are looking for, what you are applying for. And notice she also says where she saw the advertisement online. So number 4, number 4, where did she hear about the job? Online. We already did that one by accident, but that's number 4. And then number 5 and number 6 are also very important. Number 5 is, how much experience does she have? Now, if you look at where you find that in the letter, this middle paragraph is really the important part of the letter, because if in the first paragraph she says, this is the job I am applying for, then she wants to, in the next paragraph, she wants to explain why she is qualified, why she should be applying for it. What skills does she have? And remember, it's just small, it's short, it's brief. You're not saying a lot. So she explains in the second paragraph her experience and then skills. Did you notice that? She spends the first sentences talking about experience, what she has done, and then the last sentence or so talking about the skills she has. So the first sentence, I have been working as a teacher's assistant at Hilltop Elementary School for 3 years. There you go. There's her experience. But then she wants to be more specific about the experience she has at Hilltop Elementary School. So she says, in this job, I have taught reading and math to students in small groups. I have also tutored individual students who were having problems with their lessons. I'm very interested in child development, and I love working with children. So there she summarizes, short. She gives a short summary of her skills, okay? And then number 6 is asking about what are some of her skills? And this is also very important. And this is what we learned in our last lesson. In the last sentence, I get along very well with my coworkers, and I'm also skilled at dealing with parents. Now, try to remember, are those hard skills or soft skills? That's right, those are soft skills. She talked about her hard skills. She's talked about what she has learned to do in teaching for 3 years, or as a teaching assistant at Hilltop for 3 years. The hard skills, but then she has these soft skills as well that she also wants to include, because employers want to know if you will be easy to work with or difficult to work with. They want to know if you are good at working with other people, or good at working with clients or customers, or if you are difficult, because they probably don't want you if you're difficult. So she's a good coworker, but she's also good at dealing with clients. In this case, parents. And if you've ever been a teacher, I don't know if in your country, if you were a teacher, if it's this way, but I used to be a teacher here in the US, and you have to work with parents a lot, explaining how their child is doing. Sometimes difficult things happen, and you have to work with the parents in those situations. So you have to have a good set of soft skills with those parents. Okay, I hope you did okay with those questions. What I want you to do now is you're going to write your own cover letter. And part D here, and remember, this is important. Don't skip this. This is where you're going to plan your cover letter. It's better to plan it first, to take some time to think about, we call it an outline, as we've talked about before, of the cover letter, and not just start writing. So you'll see here, in your first paragraph, just like the example does, give the title of the job you're applying for, and then how did you find out about the job? Now, you may not be applying for a job right now. That's okay. Just pretend. Remember, pretend, imagine. We talk about that a lot. Just pretend you're doing something, even if you're not really applying for a job. And then in paragraph 2, write about your skills and your experience. And again, it's very important. Don't forget, always use this as your example. Even take out the information they use and just replace it with your own and rewrite it. It's a good practice. It will help you learn how to write the letter. And then when you get to part 2, it says you can write a cover letter where you actually write it out. Okay. What I would encourage you to do is, if you want, you can send me a cover letter, and I would be happy to look over it. We can talk about how to do that. I will be texting you the link to this video, which obviously you are already watching, so you already have that link. But I can text with you about how to send me an example of your cover letter. Maybe you just want to take a photo and text it to me, and I can just send you some comments back if that's the easiest thing to do, which it may be. But we can text about it through SMS, okay? Okay, that's all for our lesson today. Also, don't forget, you always have part 3 here, where you can go through those questions just to help you to review what you've written and to see if what you've written is matches the example and if it follows what you're supposed to do. Okay. It's good to be with you again today. I will again hope to hear from you, and hope you are well and staying safe, and hope to talk to you soon sometime. Bye-bye.